Welcome back to the channel, everyone. My name is SASS, and this is Incremental Factory. Well, welcome back to another 60-minute showcase with yours truly, SASS Entertainment. And today we're going to be checking out this fun little automation 2D kind of idle game. It's all about automating things and connections, and there's a whole lot of math and stuff involved in it. I really enjoy these kinds of games because they get my brain running. So I wanted to show this one off to you guys. Incremental Factory was developed and published by Significant Stake and released on the 29th of January in 2024. Craft and automate an industrial empire from scratch. Experience a strategic game teeming with challenges as you manage resources, overcome hurdles, and optimize production chains. Are you ready to conquer the challenges of Incremental Factory? Your journey starts here, and the factory must grow. This one looks pretty neat. I got to send a key for it to test out, and they've done a whole bunch of new updates and stuff to it over the last little while. The game's really, really cool. So I figured I'd show it off to you guys and see what you all think of it. So without further ado, let's dive right on in and see what we can get up to. All right. The factory must grow. As we're playing version 0.7.43 today, it is in early access and it's getting updated all the time. Their most recent update wasn't very long ago, at the end of October here, so all this new stuff coming up to it, so really exciting to see. I'm hoping that the game just keeps growing and growing. It's got a really, really cool style to it, so enough talk. Let's just jump in and check it out. Right, so when you start the game, this is basically what you start off with, just a single resource, which is obviously stone. You are going to get greeted by this big white flashbang of a screen. Just go down to the moon down here and hit the night mode, and that'll switch your screen over to the dark side. I like this a lot better. I find it a lot easier to track with, but some people might prefer the white. But right, and it's time to start mining. So we're going to go ahead and just keep on clicking and clicking. And it's how you manual mine resources in this game. It is a little bit tedious off the start just to get things going, but eventually we're going to automate all of this. So as you can see, clicking away on our stone here, and we've unlocked a new building that we can build. We can build a kiln, which allows us to combine 2 stone and 0.2 coal and turn it into bricks. And that costs 10 stone to build. So we're going to go ahead and click that one and fire it up. As we build the kiln, you can see we unlocked a bunch of new buildings and some new resources. So we have our bricks resource here now, which is showing 0 quantity, obviously because we're not producing any yet. We don't have any coal. So I'm going to go ahead, click away here, get a little bit of coal into our stores. Probably do about 50 is a pretty good start. We're only losing about 0.2 per turn. All right, so that's going to produce us a few bricks so that we can build an iron smelter. An iron smelter costs 10 bricks to build. That combines 2 iron ore and 0.2 coal into iron plates. So very similar to our kiln where we're making bricks. Now we're going to be making our iron plates. We'll go ahead and click on one of those. We're going to start producing our iron plates there. Let's go ahead and stock up on some iron ore so we can get some of those going. Stock up on our stone a little bit more as well. As you'll have noticed that as we build an iron smelter, we just unlocked the iron miner. So by building an iron miner, it turns 1 energy into 1 times 119% iron ore, so about 1.2 iron ore per second. It costs 10 iron plates and 10 bricks to build. We have enough for that, so we've been stocking up. So let's go ahead and build one of the iron miners. Right, so that is going to start producing iron for us and sending it into our stockpile on this little on our HQ, and that in turn will get turned into iron plates. So we've now automated our iron ore production and allowed for an automation of iron plate production. Next up is going to be our stone and our brick production. So let's go ahead and add a stone miner now. That is going to start producing some stone for us, and in turn going to get turned into bricks. And of course that is still using our coal, which we have not automated yet. So let's go ahead and add a coal miner as well. As you can see there, when we added the coal miner, we went from in the red negative 0.4 up to 0.79. So we are now going to be producing more than we're using for the rest of our for our kiln and our iron smelter. We'll be adjusting these numbers as we go along and start to automate and increase production so that we can add more things to it. So the first thing that we're going to want to do is make sure that our rate of production for each of our resources is in the green. You want to try and keep these in the green as much as possible, because as long as they are rate maxing, that means you are increasing your overall stock of resources instead of depleting them. So right now we have no iron ore or stone that is building up in our stockpiles. So if we run out, we run out. Start clicking. So let's add a couple more miners, a stone mine and an iron mine. There we go. Now we are producing 0.38 per tick, which I've just been calling it per second. It's about per second. So all right, so now that we have a positive production, let's go ahead and add our coal plant, which is going to open up a new window, which is our energy window. We are sitting at 100% efficiency on our energy. As you can see, we are producing 16 energy and only using 4 of it, which is from our stone miner and our iron miners. Right, so with adding on our coal power plant, we are still in the positives for coal, so that's good. It's going to continue stockpiling as we continue producing power and the rest of our resources. So we now have a fully automated operation of stone, iron ore, coal, bricks, and iron plates. Keep in mind that coal power plants do produce coal ash, so you are going to need to stockpile that as well. I believe the coal power plants lose efficiency once the coal ash piles up. So if it has nowhere to put it, which each of your storage areas does have a maximum storage that they can go up to. All right, so now that we have our iron production all automated, we're going to start producing gears. So we're going to build a gear press that's going to turn 1 iron plate and 2 energy into 2 gears. I'll go ahead and click one of those. As you can see, we are producing 2 iron gears per second. However, our iron plates have bottomed out into just 0 per second. So we're not losing any out of our stockpile, but we're not actually producing any either to replace in the future. So to keep these in the green, let's go ahead and increase our chain just a little bit, which means increasing our iron miner, increasing our iron smelter, and making sure that our iron ore is staying in the green. So there we are. We are now producing 1 per second on our iron plates again, and our gear production is still running. To continue unlocking new stuff, we're going to need to do some research. So the next building that we're going to be working on is the Red Science Laboratory. So the Red Science Laboratory takes 25 gears and 25 bricks to build. It takes half a gear and 3 energy and turns them into 0.1 red science. So they are quite low efficiency, however, not too expensive to keep running, as the gear presses are quite low maintenance. Right, so let's go ahead and add ourselves some red laboratories until our gears bottom out. As you can see, they are now down to 0 per second. So let's just drop 1 science lab there. All right, we are all good. However, you can see here this pop-up showed up low on energy. You're running low on energy. Your buildings are producing less now. Build coal power plants to produce more energy. So as you can see up here, we're only at 93% efficiency. We are using too much power, so we need to increase our coal power plant. Let's go ahead and do that. And of course, our coal production has now started to drop. So let's increase our coal miner as well. All right, so now we are producing red science, gears, iron plates, bricks, and coal and power. Not too bad. Got a pretty decent little supply chain going on here. And so far, we are able to produce most of the energy that we need to. The next building that we're going to start working on is going to be the Green Science Laboratory. However, we won't be able to get to that yet as we need to research excavation tech and beat level 1 on excavation. So that's going to be quite a ways down the road. We don't really need to worry about green science much right now. Let's just try to get our red science production so that we're at least producing 1 per second. All right, so that's going to mean that we're going to have to increase our red science labs and our gear presses to match. Gears 1.5 per second. Iron smelter needs to increase, and that means our iron miners are going to go up. It's like our bricks are going pretty slow, so let's increase those. Oops. Not mean to do coal, but that's okay. We need it anyways. And we'll go ahead and increase our iron miners. There we go. Now we're all back in the green again. However, our energy is being overloaded. So let's increase our coal power plant one more time. And one more time. Now we're back up to 64. Everything's still in the green, looking good. All right, so we'll keep that production running for a little while here. Red Science Lab. All right, so we are producing 1 red science per second. That's going to get us going pretty good. So to research new avenues of production, we're going to head on up into the research tab here, and our first step is going to be to unlock expansion tech, which it gives us the map and the ability to build more parcels, which is what we call this little section here that we've been building on. This is like a parcel of land. You can build a bunch of machines and stuff on your parcel of land, and then obviously automate and ship and transport things around to different parcels. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is unlock parcels. And we're going to head back over to our HQ, and now we're going to click on the map. And as you can see, the parcel that we've been working on this whole time is our HQ parcel. It has 2,500 storage space for different items and things, and we can build up to 64 buildings on this parcel. Now, we've finally gotten into the part of the game that I really enjoy, which is making connections and creating different supply chains and supply lines and managing all of those percentages. This is the part that I really enjoy. So as you can see at our HQ, we have a lot of different production going on right now, and it is a little bit too busy to just keep upgrading these and upgrading these and upgrading these, and we could do that. We could keep most of our production happening in the HQ. However, we are going to run out of building slots eventually, and if we want to continually exponentially increase our production routes, then to be able to do that, we're going to need more parcels. So first things first, the one thing that I like to do is to automate our power production. So power production uses coal because we're using coal power plants. So let's go ahead and build ourselves a production parcel. And let's drag them over here, put them in line with our HQ. And we're going to go ahead and click on him. And we're going to build 5 coal miners right here in this parcel, which is, oh, well, we had one last, but which is about what we were using over here to produce our power and to run the rest of our machinery. So now that we have our coal being produced over here in this parcel, I'm going to teach you how to do transportation. So transportation between different parcels is done using these little arrows. You have in arrows and out arrows, and you can transport any kind of resource that you would like. So obviously this resource node is, or this production node is creating coal. So we're going to just click with the left mouse button and drag over to the HQ and select coal. So as you can see, we have 8 per second that is now being transferred from our coal production parcel, and it is going into our HQ parcel. So we can now go over to our HQ. We can remove our coal miner. We need to increase this until it's at 8. There we go. looks like we are using slightly more coal than we would like to. Negative 3.4 T. However, our coal production numbers are increasing, so I think we're just going to leave that just like that for now. All right, so we've now automated our coal production, and we are producing power in the HQ. Now what that's going to allow us to do is it's going to open up these coal miner spots that we had before, and we can now build more power plants to produce power for the rest of our factories. Let's go ahead and get our power production up to 100. So you can see as I click here, power increases up in the top corner there. We're just going to keep going until we're over 100. We have 112 now. That should be good. We are using quite a bit of coal still, but we are pumping out 8 per second from our coal production, and we're only using 4.9. So we are increasing coal production by about 3 per second. So we're doing quite well there. All right, so our next step is going to be automating different things like our stone mining and our iron smelters and our kilns and stuff. So basically what we're going to do is we are going to try and create a parcel for each one of these resources. So that way we have stone being mined out of the ground in one parcel, being moved into the kiln along with some coal to build into bricks, and then all of that is going to go into the HQ, removing all of this production from here, freeing up more room for things like coal power plants and red science laboratories and such. All right, so let's go ahead and continue creating our production parcels. We're going to put one up here, drag our coal parcel out to the end here because we are going to need a bunch more coal. Obviously, you need coal to create steel plates and bricks, and that's what these are going to be for us here. Let's go ahead and add 5 kiln on top here and 5 iron smelters down here. So that is our brick and iron production. And let's go ahead and add 2 more back here. And these are going to be for our stone miners. And our iron miners. Going up by 10. All right, there we go. Now we're going to just click and drag, transport iron ore over to our iron plates. That's going to start filling up. And we also need some coal to go into there. So we're just going to click on this coal in here and drag it down. And there we go. We now have coal going in. We now have iron ore going in. And we are producing 5 iron plates per second. Now, obviously, we don't want the iron plates to just pile up in this production node. So we're going to click on this end here, drag it over to our HQ, and that's where we're going to send our iron plates. As you can see here, iron plates are now starting to increase, and we can remove all of our iron production from the HQ. There we go. Right, next up is our stone production and our brick production. Let's just go ahead and do the same thing again. Stone going into here, coal going into here, and bricks coming out, going into the HQ. Just like that. Now, we have brick and stone production automated, so let's go ahead and remove those. And all we're left with now is our coal power plant, our gear presses, and our red science laboratories. Now, obviously, we are still utilizing certain building slots in this area for the gear presses as well. So to make that more efficient, we're going to add an extra production node. And we're going to put it right in between our iron plates and our HQ. Now what this one is going to do is it's going to take iron plates and it's going to turn them into gears. And we're just going to do the same thing again. Iron plates. Oh, we can't do that, right? Because we've got too many connections. Right, so we're only allowed a certain amount of connections based on what is built inside of each of our production parcels. We can increase that with research over time. So let's go ahead and just delete this parcel real quick here. Right, so our next step is going to be making sure that all of our production lines here are running in the green or at least the blue. Anything in the red is a low efficiency production and obviously needs boosting. So you can boost that by either adding more items or adding more miners and production units to each of those nodes to try and increase your exports. However, you do have maximum export outputs that you can get to at a certain point. Let's go ahead and keep increasing our coal miner here, bump him up to 15 maybe. See if we can't get this efficiency as high as possible. All right, looks like we're doing pretty good there. Blue at 2 per second. Yeah, we've maxed out on coal, so we're good for coal going to the HQ. As long as we can max out, we have for our bricks. Okay, our stone is not producing as much as I was hoping for. Well, we're producing 10, but we're only outputting 8, so that is a bit of an issue. We're going to need to increase the ability of our production nodes. So let's head on up to the research station and let's see what we can unlock. All right, so the next one in the line is the extraction tech. Now this unlocks the extraction parcel, which allows us to increase the output boost by 130%, allowing for 1200 units per second limit when connected to a node. So we are going to unlock both of the extraction tech tier and the node parcel tech tier. Now those are really important to try and get off the bat as they unlock new production tiers like these ones here. But obviously we can't build nodes yet because we don't have steel plates. That will come a little bit later on. So as we were talking earlier about how our output was basically we're producing too much for our output lines to be able to handle. So to facilitate that, we're going to start using our extraction nodes instead of production nodes for creating our iron ore and our stone. So let's go ahead and build 2 of those extraction nodes and let's place them next to our 2 production nodes. This one is going to be producing stones. Let's see how many we have here. We have 9 stone miners, so let's go ahead and build 9. And we're going to reduce 9 from here. Right click to remove the connection and add a new connection back in off of our production node. So as you can see here, we are now producing 13.92 per second from our 9 stone miners. So our efficiency has gone up. However, our output is still not fast enough. Now, to allow you to increase that output even more, we're going to go back into the research tab here, and we are going to unlock connection tech. connection tech allows us to do is allows us to connect more production lines into more production nodes. So by using the research button here, we're going to go ahead and unlock extra lines. And as you can see, we are now 3 out of 7 for our production nodes, 1 out of 2, 0 out of 8. So looking really, really good now. And what that will allow us to do is to add more extraction nodes in so that we can create a more baseline with our rates here. So we need at least 10 coming off for our stone. And currently we're producing 13, but we're only outputting 8. So what we want to do is reduce this down to about 8. So we'll say 7.73. And we're going to go ahead and delete this old production parcel, add another extraction parcel. And we're going to do the same thing, adding 5 stone miners. And we're going to click and drag and bring that into our production miner. As you can see here, quantity numbers are starting to rise as we are producing more stone than we are using now. Both of our lines are running at 8 per second, so we're running 16 per second in for our brick production. And the bricks are being sent over to the HQ. However, our bricks are full, so that production line will bottom out eventually. They do tend to plateau at a certain point once your storage gets to a certain level, but that's what we have research for. We can continue researching things and unlocking new stuff like storage expansions and other things like that. All right, so the next thing that we're going to want to do is get our iron ore production saddled right up as well. So let's go ahead and add a second extraction here. Remove our iron ore production down to 6. Do 7. We'll say 7 iron miners each. I'm going to start with this one. 7. Ooh, they're way higher, right? Okay, we'll go 5 each. And we'll do 5 in this one. Iron ore. And click and drag iron ore. There we are. And we are now producing iron plates again. So our iron ore is going to continue building up as we are pushing 16 per second into this production panel, and we're only using 10. Now, obviously, we could increase this so that way we are using at least 16. But for right now, what we have being produced, because we're almost at our maximum limits for our storage, we'll just keep it the way it is right now. All right, so we've automated our brick production. We've automated our iron production. However, our coal production is looking pretty good as well. We're using a lot of coal miners, which is using a lot of power. So we could probably automate that a little better just by adding an extraction core here. And instead of using 17, so 15, I bet you we could probably get away with about 7 coal miners. 10 per second. It's probably enough, right? Let's do 10. Yeah, see 15 per second. 17 per second at 15 miners. So let's go ahead and reduce all of these off. We're going to delete that parcel. We are now going to use our production. Let's go ahead and pop one into there, pop one into there. However, you will notice that production, our extraction parcels only have 2 connection nodes for them. It all depends on how many coal miners and stuff you have built there. So something you can do is play around with the amount of buildings that you have attached to your connections. And as you can see, once we get low enough, we do add an extra connection on, which is what we're going to do. Drop that down. We're going to drag this over here so that way we are producing, we want to do probably at least 8. 6 should be plenty. We've got lots stocked up. Actually, just to make sure that both of our productions in iron and bricks are getting done through properly, we're just going to remove that connection for now. And we can always add in a small coal production later on, just to make sure that our coal plants are always firing. We are looking pretty good so far. I believe it's time that we unlock our steel mill. Okay, so steel mills will create steel bars, which can then be used to produce nodes. Nodes allow for a lot more pass-through than regular productions and extraction parcels. So by using a node and sending, let's say, all of our stone extractors, sending that into a node, it allows us to transport a lot more materials through. Instead of 8 per second at a maximum, we can push up to 16 per second at a maximum, which allows us to basically increase our production levels and our transportation levels just by using nodes in between each of these connections. So first things first, let's go ahead and let's make ourselves a production tab. We've got a new production parcel. Click on him there, and we are going to make ourselves a steel mill. Now, steel needs iron plates to be produced. It takes energy and iron plates, 5 iron plates, 3 energy to create 1 steel. So to do so, we're just going to take our steel plates from here, drag them over. We're just going to take our iron plates from here, drag them over into our steel production, and hopefully we should start producing steel. There we go. We're pretty close to one per second. However, we are only creating and outputting about 5 iron plates per second, which is not nearly enough to keep our steel production running, as well as transfer steel or iron plates over into our HQ. So we're going to want to increase that a little bit. So let's go ahead and increase our iron smelter until we have enough output to handle both. Alright, so we're producing 8 per second there. That puts us up to 4 per second, which means we're almost producing 1 steel per second, which is pretty darn good. At least for starters. Alright, so let's go ahead and take our steel, and we're going to take this and transport it into the HQ so that it can be used. Items that are stuck in your production levels in any of these connections and stuff, you will not be able to use those items until they've been transported into the HQ. So keep that in mind if you are creating production lines, that you are going to need somewhere at some point to store those items. And the HQ is the best place for it. But there are other expansions, storage expansions and such that you can collect as you get through the research bar. Right, so now that we have steel production coming in, we can start creating nodes. Nodes are really useful. I usually use them in between each of my extraction and production areas, and then between production and storage, because you're going to end up with situations like this where your iron plates are running out of a production node going into your HQ, as well as another production node, so creating steel. And as you can see, we're only pushing about 4 iron plates per second, even though we can very, very easily increase this production by a lot. We have 32 slots here that we can work with, and we're only using 1.6 and 16T per second. So when this happens and you have a low efficiency rating, as you can see here, we're going to go ahead and create a node, which you can see has 20 connections to it, depending on what you have running through. We are going to remove our iron plate productions from here, drag our HQ out just a little farther so we got some room to work. And we're going to place our node right in between with iron plates going into the node. And the node going to our steel mill and to our HQ. Just like that. So you can see it's leveled back off once again at 4 per second, which you would think is kind of odd considering, we only have 8 seconds coming from here. The math checks out, but it hasn't really increased our production at all yet. So to be able to actually increase this production and make nodes useful, what we want to do is we want to take our current production and double it. Because we're limited by how much we can pass through each of our production nodes, which is 8 per second, the best way to double it is to basically just copy and paste everything you have. Now, copy and paste is something that you are going to have to unlock in the research tab. You're just going to head over to Drone Tech Tier 1, unlock the ability to copy and paste parcels with drones, and we're going to research that. So heading back to the map, you can see now by holding Shift and clicking and dragging, you can highlight different nodes and very easily copy and paste them. So let's just go ahead and highlight both of our iron ore and our iron plate production and hold Shift, click. Isn't it? I thought it was hold Shift. Hold Alt, drag it over, and release. Now what this is going to do is your drones are going to go through and build exactly what's being produced in your current production nodes and extraction nodes. So we now have 2 sections of iron plates being produced here, which increases our output to 16 per second, which allows us our node, which has extremely high output, to start pushing 8 per second into both our steel mill, which is now stocking up on iron plates, and our HQ, which is also stocking up on iron plates. So that's one of the best ways to increase your efficiency is by copy pasting, creating new parcels, adding them onto nodes, and then taking that, obviously extracting, increasing your extraction and production, passing it through nodes, so that way you can branch off of your nodes if you need to, allowing you to create other new resources and unlock more research opportunities. We have iron plate production along with our steel mill running at full tilt. We also have gears being produced still in our HQ, so I think it's about time that we transfer that out into a new area. Let's go ahead and remove all of our gear presses from the HQ. And let's go ahead and add in a new production tab. This one is going to have our 3 gear presses added back in, steel plates into the gear press, and then back into the HQ, just like so. Alright, so our red science production is still running just fine. Our gears are still increasing, and everything seems to be moving along just swell. Our steel plate production, or our steel, is still quite low. So now that we have so many iron plates passing through, which was up to 8 per second, I believe. We've divided by 3 now, however. So that's going to be about 6 per second that we can go up to. I say we double it. We can probably triple it. Go to 15. Because these are producing quite slowly. Yeah, that should work. 21 per second. What do we have coming in? We have, oh, too much. Too much. Keep the gear press. Steel plates at 10. And 6. Six and -10. All right, perfect. We have 16 coming in, 16 going out. Perfectly balanced, as all things should be. All right. Alrighty, so next thing to unlock is going to be our warehouse parcel. So as you can see, our HQ is getting quite full. We've reached max 2,500 in almost all of our categories so far. Gears are getting very close. Steel's getting up there as well. Red Science is still producing not too bad at 1 per second. We could probably increase that a little bit, get our gear production up and running a little more. But I think we're just going to stick with that for right now. So let's go ahead and unlock the research panel. Or unlock the warehouse. Now to build a warehouse, it is very expensive. We are going to need 2,000 stone, 1,000 brick, and 500 steel. We have the steel and the brick. We do not have the 2,000 stone stocked up in the HQ. So the easiest way to get there is either going to be taking our production nodes and transferring them over to our brick node, or we just pass through our stone from our brick node into the HQ. Now, because we are looking to pump as much as we can into the HQ as quickly as possible, I would recommend right-clicking on these nodes here and just going ahead and adding in a stone connection. Connect both this one, and we'll just let them go ahead and fill that up. Our stone extraction parcels are producing so much that we basically have more than enough room to continue producing. All right, so we now have our steel production up and running. We've got some red science on the go. We're looking pretty solid so far. Head on over to our research. Excavation tech will come available at 1,000 red research. We're also going to want to try and pick up energy efficiency tier 1. That's going to help us have a much better energy efficiency across the board for all of our productions. So let's see if we can possibly increase our red science production here a little bit. We are currently using we're using about 5 gears per second. But I think we could do better than that. So let's bump this up to 20 red science laboratories. Let's use 10 per second. Currently we have 8 gears per second being sent into the HQ, which is plenty for now. We will want to scale that up and increase a little bit as we go. That's much better. Shouldn't take us too long to get to excavation tech, which will unlock the next part of the game where we'll have to defend our drill from a bunch of aliens and stuff like that, and monsters, and yeah, it should be a lot of fun. So that is how you progress through the game, is by digging down using your excavation tech, unlocking new resources and new craftables and things like that. So as soon as that is available, we will go ahead and unlock it. But first things first, let's go ahead and while we're waiting, let's make things a little bit more efficient here. Let's make sure that our iron ore, and our brick production is running tip-top. Let's go ahead and move that over here. This into our brick production. We're going to make a second one. Just like that. These are going to go here instead. We are running low on energy, so let's go ahead and bump up our coal plant just a little bit. Add another one of these. Stone goes into here. There we go. And just fine. Let's go ahead and let's build a power plant. So a power production node, we are, this is extraction, we don't want that. We want a production node, we're going to put that over here. Let's grab a couple extraction nodes as well. But we can use those for producing coal. Let's go ahead and build up our coal power plants up to 10. And our coal miner up to 6. As we can only move 8 per second anyways. Going any higher than that is kind of pointless. There we go. Let's go ahead and move that into there. Only using 5. Let's bump this up to using 16. Maxed out. Okay, perfect. Looks good. All right, so our coal power plant production is ready to go. Let's get things jump started using HQ. And as you can see here, everything is running just beautifully. We are going up by more than 16 per second, which is perfect. So our power production is now up and running. We should have no more issues with that anymore, which means once this runs out of coal, we can remove the coal power plants from here. And now our HQ is only for producing red science. And we now have our power plant over here, 32 coal power plants. Pumping it out, looking real fine. All right, next up, let's build ourselves a warehouse. Warehouses are super useful as they do expand your storage space and allow you to collect a lot more items. We're going to do things like send our steel, excess steel and excess bricks into the warehouse. The best way to do that is to send everything through a node. So let's go ahead and take this off here. We're going to send our bricks into the node, and then the node will deposit them into the HQ and the warehouse. And we're going to do the same thing for our steel as well, as there always a possibility that we'll be expanding this operation. So that will transfer our steel, and then we just have our basic gears running in here for now. This is using 8 plates per second to produce 16. Okay, so we'll have to wait until we unlock throughput later on to make that actually useful. But at the very least, we can stock up on steel and bricks. Red science is slowly building up as well. We're getting very close to unlocking excavation tech, and then once we do, we will unlock the next step, which will allow us to build green research, so we can just keep on moving on up. We're getting very close now, 990, just 10 more to go. And there's excavation tech. We've now unlocked the excavation tab, which looks like this. It's just a big wide circle. As you dig down lower and lower and lower, you'll unlock new resources and new craftables, new items that you can build. So that's really, really cool to see. I like the way that they do this. They've kind of tied the progression into this sort of like dig and defend system, where during the day, when you dig down, you won't be attacked by bugs, but during the night when you dig down, you will. So there's always an opportunity for your machines and stuff to get destroyed. But on this first one, there's no aliens or monsters attacking, so we can just go ahead and dig for copper. Once the drill completes its work, you will have unlocked copper ore, copper plates, and copper cables, and we can head on over to the map and start working on that production. Yeah, so basically, as you slowly level up, you're going to unlock things like energy efficiency, these edge throughput and node output. We're going to want these as quickly as we possibly can. This will allow us to scale up our productions exponentially as it doubles our production and then quadruples our node output, so we can transfer a lot more items. And then finally, you're going to want to unlock the military tech tier 1, as that will unlock the machine gun turret and the walls for this level. Because if we just go ahead and dig right now, you'll see we got these little aliens that'll come in and attack. And they will knock your building down pretty quickly. I don't think we can beat this one just by digging. I'm pretty sure that we need to have some type of defenses. Yeah, see, that just blew us right up. Oh geez, do we lose our drill and everything? Oh no. It's not good. Okay, how much does it cost to build an excavator? I'm gonna build floor first. 5 by 5. What kind of central? What kind of sort of central? How big is the drill? Drill's really big. Okay. Wish I would have aborted that. I didn't realize it destroyed it completely. You live and you learn. Alright, so that's exactly big enough. That's 5 and 5 and 5 and 5. And then we need to do 2 all the way around. There we go. And we'll go ahead and build our drill again. That's back up and running. And so we will eventually have to build some walls and some turrets to be able to defeat that next level. But we will research that as we go. So for the final step in the production wing, at least for the first couple of levels here, is to get your copper ore production going. So let's go ahead and let's mimic basically what we're doing with the bricks here, but we're going to do it with copper. So we're going to need 4 excavation tech. nodes. We're going to need 2 production nodes. We're going to need an extra excavation for the coal as well. Let's go ahead and add that in now. And then this is for our copper plates into copper wire. Let's turn this up here. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, go to 8. Go. Coals, same thing. Transfer that, transfer that. This is going to be copper ore, copper ore. 6 on each. Gets us up to 9 per second. Now producing plates. Plates go into our next production line, which is going to produce copper cables. We're going to increase our cable extruders until they're using 8 per second. There we go. And then we're going to add in a node right here for our copper cables. Just like that. All right, beautiful. And then we're going to need a production node for our green science. So this will go here with our copper cables. This is going to produce green science. Do 3. And then our bricks are going to come off of here and go up here because we need bricks and copper cables to be able to create green science. Right. So there we go. We now have green science being produced. Look at our global resources here. We've got 13 built up already. It does produce more green science. More resources are needed to create green science, but your green science laboratories are much more efficient than your red science laboratories. So for every 10 labs that you need to create a red science, you only need 1 for a green science laboratory. So that's why I only went with 3, because currently we have about 20 or 2 green science laboratories worth of red science being produced. So that should keep us on about a 2/3 production level with our green science. Oh, and finally, of course, we are going to need to transfer that science somewhere. So let's go ahead and let's make sure our green science goes into our warehouse and our HQ. And is this one full? It's not full yet. Okay. We're not producing enough red science for it to get completely full yet, so they're dropping on gear production, however. So I think we might want to duplicate that. No, that should help. Good. All right, so we now have copper production. We have green science coming in. Let's go ahead and unlock edge throughput. Node output. And then next up, we just need a 200 green science for the military tech tier 1. Right, so basically what we did is we doubled the amount of output we can push from our nodes now. As you can see, we're moving 16 per second off of this one now, which allows us to use up to 16 per second in our copper ore, increasing our copper plates Same with this one. Copper smelter, we can use up to 16 copper ore per second. Actually, we can go more than that. We can go up to 32. Let's double this. Let's make 16 per second in copper plates. There we go. Which will increase our efficiency for our copper cables. We're using 8 per second now. And we're producing 16 copper cables per second, which increases to 32, which is plenty for our green science laboratory. Yeah, we're using 36 per second, so that's not too bad at all. But because we increased our node output times 4 as well, we've gone from 16 to 64 as our maximum that our nodes can push. So we can actually increase our node output exponentially over time, right? We're not limited by these 16 per second when it comes to nodes. So far it looks like our bricks are a little bit underproducing. That just could be because we need to increase our production here. So let's make sure we're using at least 16 stone per second. Let's go up to that. And let's go up to 16 T bricks being made. Okay, and then this needs to be producing at least 16. $15.47. Yeah, that's close enough. Doesn't have to be 100% efficient as long as we are very close to that line. 15.47. There we go. Right, so our bricks should be producing, yep, 16 per second. 16 per second. That now increases this output by a lot more. And perfect, we are using all of our copper cables and our bricks as much as they can pump in. Ooh, see, our cables just dropped a little bit there. So let's go ahead and let's take a look. I think we're just limited by the amount of cables we can actually make. So I think we'll drop that back down again. So we can stay at peak efficiency with 3 per second in our green science. And there it is. Military tech has been unlocked. Let's go ahead and unlock that one. And now that we have our warehouse and our HQ right full, we should have enough materials to be able to build a couple of turrets. But we need more steel and more bricks. Okay. Let's head back to our map once again and make sure our steel production is up and running well. We are using 10 plates per second. We don't need to be transferring them there anymore. Let's go ahead and let's duplicate our steel production just a little bit. We can do 15, 15. Here's only using 8. Yeah, so that should work out pretty well. There we go. Steel production is going to be running along just nicely. Bricks are coming in pretty steadily as well, 10 per second. Looking good. See if we've got enough. Build a second turret here. We're still short on steel and bricks, so it's going to be a little bit before that is ready to go. Let's go down and make sure that all of our iron and iron plates and everything are running at peak efficiency. Iron smelters, we could increase this to producing 16 per second. Means we need to increase our iron ore just slightly. Because we're using 32, so we need 16 out of these. $16.87, that'll do. There we are. And increase this bad boy. He's using 32 now. Okay. That should give us more than enough plates. Perfect. Looking good now. So we got 32 per second coming in, and that is split up between our gears, which they're only using 8 anyways. Our steel plates, which are using 15. So 38 to 32. So we're very close to being peak efficient. That should work fine. We don't want to unlock basic electronics yet. We're a long ways away. Extraction tech tier 2. We don't really need that either. We're just going to stick with what we have here. Just wait for our bricks and our steel and stuff to increase in production so that we can buy another turret. So we're just short on bricks, so we just have to wait for that to fill up now. $1,500 bricks short. Oh, we're gonna need to unlock warehouse tech 2, aren't we? Yeah, so we need to increase our red science production. How's that gears looking? Gears are full. Let's increase this to 30. $15 per second. We got 16 per second going in. That's fine. Still producing plenty of gears. That should increase our red research just a little bit faster. So we're going to need 2,000 for warehouse tech tier 2, which will allow us to hold a lot more materials and get us down into the next level for excavation. We could probably do it right now, but I find it's always best to have all your turrets and stuff up and running. At least 2. You're going to want at least 2 for the first couple levels here. And then obviously brick production is going to have to massively increase if we are going to build walls and everything else as well to keep the bugs out. And your drill platform will have to expand over time. So you've got the little tire tread here, which allows you to build floors. You've got the little wall, brick wall here. It allows you to build walls to protect your drill and protect your guns. So we're missing 1,500 bricks. It's going to be a while before we can unlock warehouse. So I think what we're going to do is we are going to increase our brick production. So let's go ahead and move our copper up here. Pop this up here for our green science. Let's go ahead and remove this one. And let's just go ahead and highlight all of these. Oop. Just pop them in right there. Boom, just like that. I'll just go ahead and transfer this one up here. So that way we can keep our green science production up and running. And there we have it. We doubled our brick production. Super easy to just shift and highlight. You can move full strings around and then hold Alt and move to copy whatever nodes you have added to your blueprints. It works pretty good. Drones go through, they build everything up for you exactly as you have it in the previous one, and you just keep going from there. So I think we're going to expand out just a little bit more and give ourselves some more room. Let's just take these, pull them out, make this a little easier to see. Our power production is doing quite well. We are going to want to duplicate and double that very soon as we get into building things like electronics and building quartz miners and chip plants and all that. That will come later on in the game. You're going to want to dig down until you unlock quartz, which is level 4. So we have a bit of building and a bit of defending to do before we can get to that. All right, so looking pretty good so far. We've got a decent amount of production. Our bricks are pounding themselves out really nicely. We've been filling up each of our excavation areas. We should have enough for a second. Oh no, that's right. I keep doing that. I keep forgetting that we need to unlock the warehouse tier. And there it is. It is now available. Let's unlock that. Our brick production should start lighting up bright green here as it's going to start pumping a whole lot of resources into our warehouse. Keep in mind that when you upgrade your warehouse, it does not upgrade your HQ storage. So you're actually only increasing your warehouse by about 1,000. But you will need to do that as you go along. Warehouse upgrading is going to be one of the most important things that you can do, as it does allow you to build more warehouses and increase your storage more and more as you go along. Alright, so we now have excavation level 2 ready to go. Our storage has been increased, so we should be able to build our next turret now. We can. Perfect. Alright, turrets are operational. Let's go ahead and make sure we've got our walls up for this first battle. It's not a hard one, but it's definitely not an easy one either. Walls are quite expensive, so that's why I always recommend the upgrade for the warehouses and whatnot. You're going to need to boost those up as much as possible. Right, let's go ahead and let that build up just a little bit more before we continue. Lots of bricks transferring going out here. Looking pretty good so far, 32 per second. Everything is nice and green. Looks like copper is a little, putting a little bit under. I think it's just, it's just because we're pushing too much, that's why. Yeah, that's all it is. We're just not quite burning enough copper, but just not a big deal. I'd rather have extra on hand than not have enough. Right, so we should have enough bricks now to finish off our wall. Let's make sure we get that built down first. I think I'm going to add a little bit of road just around the edges here. For our gunners, just to make sure that they are nicely protected. Let's go ahead and add a couple of walls here. And there we are. We are now ready for the next level. So let's see how we fare against the Horde. Dun 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 dun. And so your turrets will shoot whatever creature is closest to them. So your placement on where you put your turrets does matter. As you can see here, I've got mine down at the bottom so that they will eat through the top of the walls first. This is a little bit problematic, as if you get too many coming from the bottom, they won't be able to shoot the ones on top, and you could lose a lot of health off of your drill. But it looks like we're going to make it. And there we go. We have success. We've unlocked level 2, which allows us to increase our game speed. Now this helps big time to push the game along a little bit faster. You're going to find yourself stockpiling things much quicker, unlocking things much quicker. Getting past this first couple levels of excavation is mainly the key to the game before it really starts to open up. But I won't spoil anything else for you guys. I will let you go ahead and try it out and experience it for yourself. I really enjoyed Incremental Factor. I think this is such a cool game. It's got a really, really neat game style to it. Kind of combines computer science and automation and all that fun stuff. Lots of math, lots of numbers. It really gets my brain ticking, so I really, really enjoyed it. If you enjoyed the content, please leave a like on the video, as it does help in the algorithm. If you're watching this after the fact, please leave a comment down in the comments section below. If you've played Incremental Factor or you're planning on playing Incremental Factor, let me know what you think of it so far. If you'd like to try it out for yourself, I do have a link down in the description. You can click on that. It'll take you over to Steam and you can check out Incremental Factor for yourself. Down in the description, you'll also find my Discord link and my support links for Patreon if you'd like to support the channel. Don't forget to stop by the Discord as well and leave a vote on your favorite showcase I've done so far. The ones that get high votes, I will do a recase the showcase and we'll dig into a game a little bit more, maybe do a live stream or something like that. So don't forget to stop by and do that. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel so that you can get more great content like this. And we will see you all next time. Happy hunting, survivors.